So with us today, we have Tracy Thompson and Jennifer Jimenez from the Health Science Department. So they will be here to, I'll let them introduce themselves. And then when you guys are ready, just let me know and we will start the presentation portion of it for you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tracy Thompson, and I'm one of the Health Science Majors Advisors.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Jimenez. I'm one of the Health Science Advisors as well. So we're really excited to be here. So you're going to see from us a video that we've created regarding our major. And just a few things to keep in mind if you do decide to attend Stony Brook. We would love for you to meet with an advisor at least, once a semester. The video is, up to date at the moment. But we want students to always make sure to meet with us just, in case there's any changes or things that might come up between now and when you start. It's always a great idea to meet with us as well.
Okay, great. So I know you guys have a video for today, so I can pull that up. If you guys are ready, I can show that to the attendees. Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get that started. Can you see this okay? Awesome.
Greetings and welcome to the Health Science Informational Session. Stony Brook Medicine consists of 5 professional schools: the School of Medicine, School of Social Welfare, School of Dental Medicine, the School of Nursing, and then the School of Health Technology and Management, or SHTM for short. Within SHTM, on the graduate level, we have physical therapy, applied health informatics, physician assistant, occupational therapy, and athletic training. For the undergraduate majors within SHTM, we have the health science major, which is what you're learning about today, clinical laboratories, respiratory care, and polysomnographic technology. The health science major has something for almost every student. Some of our students use it as a foundation major as they're looking to apply to graduate school or medical programs after their bachelor's degree. Some examples of these programs are applied health informatics, athletic training, accelerated nursing, physician assistant, occupational therapy, physical therapy, medical school, mental health counseling, and social work programs. Please note that this is not an all-inclusive list, as there are so many options out there. Another group of our students are looking to enter into the workforce after graduating, and we have a couple of workforce-friendly options. Lastly, some of our students are applying to the clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate programs within our major. Please note that our clinical concentrations are subject to opening and closing without prior notification due to workforce demand or need. And that's why we recommend that you speak with an academic advisor on a regular basis to find out which clinical concentrations are available at the moment. Our major is a little different than most other majors on campus. Most West Campus majors, students start their major coursework in their sophomore or junior year. Whereas with the health science major, our major coursework is taken during the senior year and it's delivered in learning communities. The health science major is considered a senior year major, and therefore there are certain prerequisites that students need to complete before advancing to the senior year curriculum. Students must complete these by the end of the spring semester prior to the fall semester they would like to start. Students need at least 91 credits, at least a 2.0 GPA, as well as their Stony Brook curriculum complete, with the exception of Tech, CER, ESI, SPK, DIV, and WRTD. Those will be completed during the health science senior year as they are built into the senior year curriculum. Next, we require 16 natural science credits with the grade of C or better. And included in this, there is a required anatomy and physiology sequence. Students can choose from the following. The first option is Han 200 and Han 202, which is Anatomy and Physiology 1 and Anatomy and Physiology 2. These two courses come with a virtual lab, which for our major is fine, however, may or may not be accepted by certain graduate or clinical programs. For example, our nursing program will not accept these courses due to the virtual lab. Another way of completing this requirement is by taking Bio 203 and A&P 300. Bio 203 being a physiology course and A&P 300 being an anatomy course. These two courses will be considered in lieu of Han 200 and Han 202. However, please note that they are not direct equivalents of Han 200 and Han 202. The last main option would be to take Anatomy and Physiology 1 and 2 from another accredited college, and as long as you get the C or better, you may transfer it over. It is always a good idea to check with your health science advisor to see which may be the fit for you. Also, as I mentioned, you will want to check with any graduate or clinical programs you're applying to in order to determine which is the recommended and or required anatomy and physiology sequence. Next, we require 21 credits of related electives with the grade of C or better. And a related elective essentially is a course that goes hand in hand with the healthcare profession. So just to give you a few examples, we have Intro to Psychology, Intro to Sociology, Business, as well as our science lab courses. They count towards the related elective category. However, our science labs do not count towards the natural science category. We will also allow students to utilize pre-calculus, calculus, as well as statistics towards related elective credits as well. There is a website that you can view that has a list of all the related elective courses that we will accept. There are 2 required related elective courses, and both must be taken here at Stony Brook University. They cannot be transferred in. These are Han 251, our research methods course, and Han 312, which is human anatomy medical terminology. Han 251 does not have any prerequisites. However, Han 312 has a prerequisite of either Anatomy and Physiology 1 or A&P 300 if you're on that alternate sequence. Also, if you go above 16 natural science credits, you can roll any remaining natural science credit above that 16th credit into the related elective category if needed. We also require that students have 10 upper division credits prior to advancing. So those are courses labeled at the 300 and 400 level. They do not have to be upper division science courses. And generally, we recommend that if students have any remaining related elective room, or if they have some remaining SBCs, that they take a couple of those at the upper division level to meet this upper division requirement. Please keep in mind that Han 251 and Writing 102 must be successfully completed prior to advancing to the senior year. These are extremely strict prerequisites. And please note that all requirements for second majors, minors, and prerequisites for graduate programs must be completed prior to starting the senior year curriculum. Students cannot declare a double major or minor once they've been advanced to the senior year curriculum. The next couple of slides have information and course descriptions on some of our health science coursework. Please feel free to take a moment to learn a little bit more about our courses. So students who are ready to start their senior year with us will have enrollment appointments just like they did in the past. However, unlike past during their freshman or sophomore year, where they would register for their real courses on their enrollment date, it will be a little bit different. During the senior year, so in other words, during the spring semester, when you're going to register for your senior year courses, you'll be registering for HAS 498, which is a 12 credit placeholder course. This isn't a real course. It is literally just that, a placeholder. However, it is really important that you do register for it, as it will show in the system that you are a full-time student, and also it will allow us to know that you're ready to start your senior year with us. Once students register for this course, we're able to then go ahead and review your academic progress and confirm that you are really ready to start with us. We will only send out advancement packets to students who have registered older course. Usually the advancement packet is sent out at some time in July, and this will come via your Stony Brook email. The advancement packet will have the individual courses that students will need to register for, as well as the track schedules. And we'll talk more about how that works in a little while. In this email also with the advancement packet, we'll have the real registration date. On the real registration date, you'd be able to drop HAS 498 and then register for the actual health science fall semester courses. Students need 91 credits, at least a 2.0 GPA, and all prerequisites completed to advance. However, students that have at least 85 credits, a 2.0 GPA, and only missing 1 to 3 requirements by the end of the spring semester of their junior year, and who want to start their senior in the fall, they can petition the program director. The petition must include the courses still missing, when they're going to be taken, and where the courses will be taken. And this can be submitted to Tracy Thompson via email. Please note that students who are petitioning that are missing 3 requirements by the end of the spring semester of their junior year, they should register for a West Campus schedule for the fall semester while their petition is being reviewed, just in case their petition is denied. Students who are missing more than 2 requirements, have below a 2.0 GPA, do not have at least 85 credits, and or who have an I grade on their record by the end of the summer will not be eligible to advance that fall. Also, Han 251 and Writing 102 must be completed with a C or better prior to advancing. Once advanced to the senior year, the academic standards of the major may be a little bit different than what you're currently used to. A student must earn the grade of C or better in all the courses for the fall semester to consider to have passed the class. This goes for the spring concentrations as well. The C or better is the standard for the senior year curriculum. If a student earns less than a C, the course must be repeated. And because these courses are only offered once per year, this means that graduation may be delayed. A student must earn the grade of C or better in a minimum of 4 full semester core courses in order to advance to the spring concentration curriculum. A student who fails 1 course in the fall semester senior year will be recommended to the dean for probation and will remain on probation until the course has been successfully completed the following academic year. A student that fails 2 core courses in the fall semester will be recommended to the dean for probation and will be prohibited from enrolling in courses for that spring and summer semester. The student must retake the failed courses the following academic year and pass all courses to be eligible for the spring semester. A couple of things to keep in mind. Once you advance to your senior year curriculum, we do not allow you to G, P, and C any senior year course. Even if you're taking a West Campus course on top of your fall curriculum or on top of your spring concentration coursework, even that West Campus course must come with a letter grade. Keep in mind that we also do not allow any students to start their senior year with any incompletes on their transcript. So make sure that you have any I's cleared away prior to your first day of senior year courses. During the senior year, the exams are going to be slightly different than what you might be used to. The exams have a lot of what we call higher order thinking questions that require you to take the material learned and be able to apply them to practical scenarios. So it's not just pure memorizations of the facts. During senior year, there will also be a lot of group projects, as well as verbal presentations in just about all of your fall core courses. In healthcare, healthcare is often delivered as a team. So we set up a similar type of curriculum where we incorporate a lot of teamwork, group projects, and where we really emphasize those types of skills so that when you enter into the healthcare profession, you'll already have some practice with those team dynamics as well as conflict resolution and the ability to take on leadership roles within groups, etc. Attendance is mandatory and students are expected to be on time to class. We do have an excused absence policy though for students who need. So just to give you a couple of examples, religious observances, acute illnesses, as well as court orders are things that are generally approved. However, each excused absence is reviewed on a case-by-case basis by the program director before making any determination. One of the reasons why attendance is mandatory is due to our learning communities. These learning communities require that students are actively engaged in collaborative learning. Participation is therefore mandatory, and if a student is absent, they lose the opportunity to participate in required learning activities such as group projects and as well as class discussions. As such, absences will negatively impact your participation grade. We require during the senior year student flexibility if a student is interested in pursuing our major. The reason why we require student flexibility is due to our learning communities. So in the fall semester, all of our students will be in learning communities or tracks, as you may have heard them referred to. So these 5 core courses in that fall semester, you'll have the same 60 to 70 students in each of your classes. In the spring is when you take your concentration coursework. And in the spring, you'll have the same students in your class, but this time based off of the concentration that you choose. Let's go back to those fall core courses. With those fall core courses and with those track schedules, how it works is that each class will meet once a week for 3 hours at a time. So since you have 5 core courses, you'll expect to be in class, 1 class per day, Monday through Friday, and each class will meet, as mentioned, for 3 hours at a time. So our schedule does not follow the typical Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday option that the West Campus College of Arts and Sciences schedule follows. So I'll give you a sample schedule for the fall semester. So you might have a Monday morning class, 9 to 12. Tuesday, you might have an evening course, 5 to 8. Wednesday, you might have another evening course, 6 to 9. Thursday, you might have an afternoon class, 12 to 3. And usually on Fridays, you'll either have a 9 to 12 or a 1 to 4. Usually on Fridays, courses don't go past 4 o'clock, but of course that is subject to change. So with that being said, notice that the sample schedule wasn't all morning, all afternoon, or all evening, and that will be the same for just about all of our tracks. We do not allow students to mix or match tracks, as that will defeat the purpose of a learning community. So you must choose only one track to enroll into. However, it doesn't really matter which track you choose, as all of the tracks have those same 5 core courses built into them. Only difference amongst tracks would be the day, time, and/or professor teaching that course. There are 5 core courses that students take during their health science senior year: professional ethics, communication skills, healthcare issues, scholarly writing, and healthcare informatics. There is also an option for students to take an elective course called radiation physics and medicine. This course is required if the student plans to apply to the medical dosimetry, radiologic technology, or radiation therapy clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate programs. This will require that a student register for a track that has radiation physics and medicine built into it. Usually, there are 2 tracks that will have that course built into it, and you would select one of those 2. Time management is a really important part of the senior year. We ask students to manage their time effectively, as students will notice that things are going to be due oftentimes very close to one another. However, this is really great practice for once the student enters into a healthcare profession. Just like any profession, you don't get to dictate your deadline to your supervisors. So it's great practice to be able to manage your time effectively so that you can make sure that things are due when they need to be due. I strongly urge students, once you get your course syllabus, to use either your computer, phone, or an agenda book to outline when your assignments and exams are. So that when you look at it as an overview, if you see things are due very close to one another, I strongly recommend to start early so that you're not scrambling at the last second to complete multiple assignments. So the first core course that you'll be taking is called Professional Ethics. This course provides students with the ethical framework for working as a professional in a healthcare environment. So you'll talk about ethical dilemmas, what's controversial in healthcare, and things that are acceptable within the healthcare profession. Next, you'll be taking a communication skills course. As in any profession, but particularly in the healthcare profession, communication is key. So you'll learn about interpersonal communication, you'll learn about the theory behind communicating, as well as actually being able to practice communicating. Next, you'll be taking a healthcare issues course. As we know, the healthcare system is constantly evolving and changing. You'll get to learn about past trends, current problems. You'll learn a little bit about insurance premium, what's the difference between Medicare as well as Medicaid. Next, you'll be taking a scholarly writing course, and this is why we require HAN 251 prior to senior year, as that is a prerequisite to scholarly writing. This course will teach you about scholarly writing and professional writing within the healthcare environment. You'll also be learning a bit about grant writing and grant proposals as well. Last but not least, you'll be taking a healthcare informatics course, which is sort of like the technology and computer end of healthcare. We also have an informatics concentration in the spring for students who are interested. Also, there's a master's program out in our Southampton campus, a master's in applied health informatics. This is a wonderful opportunity, and many of our students do take advantage of it. Since it's an accelerated program, how it works is that after a student graduates with their bachelor's degree in May, they can then continue on, and it's summer 1, summer 2, fall, spring, and then the following summer 1 and summer 2, and then a student will have their master's degree. This program is considered a workforce-friendly master's degree. So in other words, the specialization areas for this program are geared towards the workforce demands. Starting salaries for this program range anywhere between 60 to 80,000. So it is a nice way to also gain experience in the field through the practicums, while also allowing yourself to potentially earn a wonderful career. Radiation physics and medicine is an elective course that health science seniors can enroll into for the fall semester of their senior year. This course will teach students about radiological and radiation oncology physics. For seniors who enroll into this elective, they would be taking their core coursework plus this class. Students who plan to apply to the radiologic technology, radiation therapy, and/or medical dosimetry clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate programs must enroll into the radiation physics and medicine elective course. Please note that the anesthesia technology clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate program does not require this elective course to apply. The health science major for the spring semester has both clinical and non-clinical concentrations. Clinical concentrations are generally dealing with direct patient care, whereas our non-clinical concentrations are oftentimes a little bit more behind the scenes in healthcare. We'll first start off by talking about our clinical concentrations. We have anesthesia technology, medical dosimetry, radiologic technology, and radiation therapy. These concentrations all require that you apply and become accepted into the non-credit, non-degree certificate programs. We do not guarantee any seats into any of these programs. Therefore, we do have some recommendations for students that are applying to our clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate programs. We recommend that students have at least a 2.5 overall GPA, at least a 2.5 or higher natural science GPA, and we do recommend some healthcare experience, whether that's paid or volunteer. This experience can be for either 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. We don't have a specific time amount that we require. Also, it could be in a variety of different settings. It could be in a hospital, doctor's office, nursing home, rehab, etc. We ask that you view our look at the specific recommendations and or requirements for each clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate program. The clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate programs all have an application process, and it's all done electronically. So how this is going to work is during the fall semester, usually either middle to end of September or beginning of October, students will receive an email with when the applications are going to open up and how to complete these online applications. Keep in mind there's a one-time $50 application fee, and this is required for all of our clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate programs. Keep in mind though that with that $50, you could apply to either just one of these programs or as many as you qualify for. Usually you have about 3 to 4 weeks to complete the application, and the application is going to consist of essays and transcripts as well. So in other words, if you have any transcripts from other colleges that you haven't yet submitted to the university, you would do so at that point. You'll also need 2 letters of professional recommendation. So in other words, either from professors or volunteer supervisors or work supervisors, these are some of examples of individuals who could write your letters of recommendation. Keep in mind that you'll want to have done research on the clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate programs that you're applying to. So for example, if you're applying to more than one, you'll want to research all of them that you're applying to, so that on your essays, you can cater them to show why you're so passionate about that particular field. In healthcare, it's sort of assumed that you like to help others. And even though that's wonderful, they're going to want to see a little bit more specific. Why that particular concentration? Why are you so passionate about that particular field? So for those students who have applied to the clinical, non-credit, non-degree certificate programs, the admissions committees will then review these applications. If they like your application, they will then invite you to interview. Keep in mind for medical dosimetry that there's going to be a portion of the interview process where they're going to test your physics and calculus-based knowledge. During the interview process for the clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate programs, you'll be interviewed by generally 2 to 5 individuals who will ask you lots of questions. So once again, it'd be a great idea to have done some research so that you can speak to the day-to-day type of stuff within that profession. Also, it's a great idea to meet with the Career Center, practice interviewing skills, and making sure that you're fully prepared for these interviews. If a student gets into one of these clinical, non-credit, non-degree certificate programs, what will then happen is that in the spring semester of senior year, you would take that didactic coursework. You would then graduate in May, just like your fellow classmates. And then after you graduate, you'd come back to do a clinical, non-credit, non-degree certificate program where you would do your clinical rotations. This clinical, non-credit, non-degree certificate program is full-time, 5 days a week. And during the clinical rotations, you're getting to collect your hours so you can sit for the certifying exams for that particular profession. Keep in mind that the clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate programs range in cost. Usually they're either between $5,000 to $10,000, and the pricing is constantly changing and is different for each clinical non-credit, non-degree certificate program. Therefore, I recommend that you check the Bursar's webpage for the most up-to-date tuition info. This will not include other things like university fees, health insurance, books, uniforms, etc. That will be in addition to that tuition. Also, keep in mind that during the clinical, non-credit, non-degree certificate program, you will not qualify for traditional financial aid. Also, for the clinical, non-credit, non-degree certificate programs, on-campus housing is not available. Therefore, if you're not from the area, you will want to have some type of housing plan. You will also need some form of transportation for the radiologic technology as well as the radiation therapy, clinical, non-credit, non-degree certificate programs. For radiologic technology, your clinical site may be anywhere on Long Island or in New York City. Whereas with radiation therapy, that program is offered in conjunction with Mount Sinai Hospital, so your clinical sites will be there at Mount Sinai in Manhattan. Now, please take this opportunity to read about our concentrations offered for the senior year spring semester. I hope that you enjoyed learning more about the health science major. For those students who plan on pursuing the health science major and who are current Stony Brook students, we recommend you meet with us approximately twice a year, once in the fall semester, once in the spring semester. It's usually best to meet with us at least 3 weeks prior to your enrollment date, just to make sure you have enough time to prepare your classes and that so you're not waiting on long lines to meet with the health science advisors. It is your responsibility to make sure that you've met all requirements for graduation, and we strongly suggest that you check your Stony Brook degree works frequently to make sure that your coursework is being met. But we could also assist with that, and that's why we would like for you to meet with us on a regular basis. Also, please feel free to view our website to learn more about our major. And if you have any questions, you could also email us or meet with us for advising. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.
Okay, great. Let me just log out of this. Okay. All right, so it looks like we have a few questions in the Q&A. So let me just look through them, and then Tracy and Jennifer, whoever wants to take each one as we go through, we will do it that way. So the first question I see here is, where can I see the course curriculum for this major?
Hi, everyone. So just a few quick things that I wanted to bring up is that just so that you know, our medical dosimetry concentration, we're currently not accepting applications for that, just so that everybody knows. We're not sure when or if we will be again, but just please note that for the moment. Also, the polysomnographic technology, which we referenced in the beginning, is also currently not accepting applications. Those are the only quick updates I wanted to just provide from that video. In regards to course curriculum, our major is a little bit abstract. So there's not necessarily like a prescribed curriculum. So basically what you need for our major is once you, let's say, become a Stony Brook student, you would need to have 91 credits, at least a 2.0 GPA, and you would need 16 natural science credits with a grade of C or better, including anatomy and physiology sequence, as well as 21 credits of related electives, including that Han 312 and Han 251. So those remaining related elective classes, we do have a list of them, which you could access via our website. But there's a lot of them. So we actually find that transfer students often will come in having most of their related electives met, minus those two specific ones that you would need at Stony Brook. So it's a little bit abstract. So on a case-by-case basis, when students do enroll in Stony Brook, we do look at your transfer credits, and we make sure that you're taking the appropriate classes that you need in order to what we call advance to the health science senior year.
All right, great, thank you. Let's see. This is another good one. Do most health science majors apply to medical school?
So I would say that we look at it like a third, a third, a third. I'd say a third of the students who declare health sciences their major will apply to a graduate clinical program. They'll apply to medical school, physician assistant, physical therapy, occupational therapy, nursing, dental school, etc. And then we have a third of our students who are interested in working in healthcare, but not in the clinical portion of healthcare. So they're looking for the non-clinical part of healthcare. And then we have another third of our students who are interested in our clinical concentrations that were stated in the video with radiological tech, radiation therapy, and anesthesia tech.
Great, thank you, Tracy. Next question, when do you declare your concentration by?
So students will declare their concentration in the senior year. So what we've done is we have it's a Google form link. So in the end of September, early October of your senior year, you'll receive an email from me asking you to go ahead and declare your concentration. Along with that, we have video presentations of each one of the concentrations that we send. You will let us know what concentration that you're interested in, and then I will give you permission to register for the courses within that concentration sometime in December of your senior year.
Great. So next question, is there opportunities for students to volunteer at the Stony Brook University Hospital before their senior year?
So yes, we do have opportunities for that. I believe currently due to the pandemic, I don't believe they're taking at the moment, but during a traditional semester where the pandemic is not occurring, a lot of our students do volunteer at the hospital or at our Long Island Veterans Home. So there are a lot of opportunities for that. Sometimes students will also volunteer at their local hospitals, or like during like summer sessions and things like that. But if you're interested during a regular semester, there are opportunities for that as well. And I believe that even during the pandemic, you can work with the Career Center. The Career Center has a lot of virtual type opportunities for internships and volunteers and things like that.
Great, thank you. Next, would this be a good major if I am looking to apply to PA or med school?
Yes, our current PA advisor recommends health science major because the wonderful thing about the health science major is it gives students a really good foundation in the healthcare delivery system, especially with medical school. When you go to your interview for medical school and they're asking you, can you give us an issue that's going on in healthcare right now? You will have taken an entire class on healthcare issues. And how healthcare is delivered in the United States. You might get a question in the interview that says, give us an ethical situation in healthcare. And you'll be able to talk about ethical situations in healthcare. So again, the wonderful thing about the health science major is its foundation in the healthcare delivery system. So you get an overall of how healthcare is delivered.
Great, thank you. I'm just looking through a few more of these. So when students are majoring in health science, do you typically see those students also double majoring in something else?
We've had students who've double majored with psych, biology, sociology. So it really depends on the student's interest and if they have the time to fulfill all the requirements to double major, whether it be in 4 or 5 years.
Great, thank you. And one student is asking about the research opportunities that the major offers. Can you guys speak a little bit to that?
The major currently really doesn't offer any type of research opportunities with the major. There is a program within Stony Brook University that offers research opportunities.
And that's referred to as Eureka, guys. So undergraduate research and creative activities. And it looks like Amanda just posted a link to that in the chat. So you guys can definitely check out more opportunities for that there. Let me see.
Jennifer, you want to talk about the health science major club?
Sure. So we have the Health Technology and Management Club, which is the club for our major. We do a lot of nice events. We just recently had a concentration panel. So we had our current seniors, we had a representative from each concentration speak to the underclassmen about their concentrations, what types of jobs you could get, what types of graduate programs may be a good fit with that concentration. We have a lot of opportunities. Well, same when the pandemic isn't occurring, there's opportunities actually within the club to volunteer with the Long Island State's Veterans Home. We're also we work on fundraising opportunities and a variety of different things. So it's a nice way of getting connected with other health science majors. And we also actually have a mentoring program where our underclassmen are paired, if interested, with somebody, oftentimes a senior year student who has a little bit more familiarity with Stony Brook and the health science major. It's a nice way to kind of get connected, ask questions and things of that nature.
And we're also celebrating our 20th year this year. So the health science major will have been here for 20 years. And we were able to host an alumni function. We ended up, our first graduating class was 36 students, and we had about 15 of them come back, and we had a whole Zoom program where they came back and spoke about what they were doing 20 years later with the health science major and their degree.
Oh, that's so awesome. Can't believe it's been 20 years. That's
I
exciting.
know, it's gone by fast.
One of the questions we have here, what are the benefits of doing the health science major compared to biology or chemistry for someone who is interested in applying to medical or physician assistant school?
So one of the benefits is that you get a really nice foundation in the healthcare delivery system. So for example, if on a medical school interview or a physician assistant interview, for example, if they're asking what's one of the biggest challenges that is currently being faced in healthcare today, you've just had a whole class on that. So pretty much our senior year curriculum is designed so that you're really familiar with how the healthcare system works. And it really is beneficial, especially during those interviews, in terms of answering a lot of those questions. So that is something that you would get with our major that maybe would not get with other majors that are more focused on just those, not just those, but a lot more science heavy, whereas our major also incorporates that healthcare delivery piece of it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. I don't know if you guys know exactly off the top of your head, but do you know how many students are currently enrolled in the health science major?
Well, currently in the senior year, we have 455 students. And then our freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, we have almost 1,000. We're probably about the third largest major on the campus.
Awesome. Thank you. Are there any restrictions on students who major in health science to minor or double major in something else in addition to health science?
There are no restrictions. The only challenge is that you have to complete the requirements for the minor or the major prior to advancing to the health science major senior year. Once you've advanced in the fall semester, you have to be a May or summer graduate.
Okay, great. And so as I'm going through these questions, it does look like there's a few, that are more concentrated on like personalized circumstances. So do you guys have a contact that we could share with students to ask more specialized questions about pursuing this program?
Sure. They can email myself or Jennifer if we want to put our email in the chat.
Sure.
We could put our email address in the chat, but my email is tracy.thompson@stonybrook.edu. And then Jennifer will put her email in the chat, and you can just email us at any time and we can answer any of your questions.
Awesome. We've had a few questions too, generally speaking, about what you can do with the Bachelor of Science in Health Science, like after you graduate, pursuing a career. So can you speak a little bit about what opportunities are available for students?
So students who are interested in working right after they graduate, we have a couple concentrations that are really workforce based. One of our concentrations is environmental health and safety. Environmental health and safety deals with industrial hygiene. An industrial hygienist is someone who makes sure that where a person works isn't going to be hazardous to their health. They have to follow the federal and county guidelines as well as the state guidelines. And they kind of have two roles. One role is that, again, they're making sure that the company that they're working for is following the safety guidelines, as well as they're training the employees on how to be safe in whatever working environment they're in. We've had students who've gotten jobs at Amazon, Estee Lauder, Brookhaven National Lab, construction sites, universities, colleges, et cetera. So that's one of our really nice workforce-based concentrations. And then we also have disability studies and human development. We have a lot of students who've gotten jobs working with different organizations on Long Island, such as YAI, being caseworkers. And some of our healthcare management students have gotten jobs working at Sloan Kettering as a case manager. So there's a lot of opportunity after you graduate to go on into the workforce. Other students, again, have applied to our graduate clinical programs in physical therapy, dental school, physician assistant, medical school, nursing, occupational therapy, et cetera. And then for our clinical concentrations, all of our students who've graduated with our clinical concentrations have gone on and done the clinical year and set for their licensures have gained employment.
Great, thank you. So it looks like we've pretty much got through the questions. If anyone has any other lingering questions that are more broad speaking, definitely feel free to throw them in the Q&A. But I think the last thing I'd like to pose to both of you is, do you have any advice for these students as to why our program at Stony Brook, the health sciences program, they should choose it, basically, just speaking from your experience working in the department?
As we kind of said before, a lot of one of the wonderful things about the health science major is the foundation that you're going to get in the healthcare delivery system, as well as some of the out of the classroom things that we do. Learning in groups is huge. Being able, when you go on to a graduate clinical program, or you go on to into the workforce, being able to work in a group, understanding conflict and how to resolve conflict, how to take on leadership roles. Those are things that you're going to be a part of or participate in, again, in a graduate clinical program or in the workforce. I think the other part is our learning communities. Our learning communities really create a family. Students really feel like they're part of the school. And I had a commuter student one time who, for the first 3 years, only was friends with the people that he had gone to high school with. And then in his senior year, all of a sudden, he's met 10 or 15 new people that he hangs out with all the time. And we've had people that have gone on and remained friends for years and years. We've had people have gotten married within the health science major. So what I'm just saying is that with the learning communities that we have, students really feel a sense of connection and a sense of being part of a family.
Definitely. And like another, the learning communities, we get really great feedback from students on, but also another thing that we get a lot of great feedback on is a lot of students will come back from their graduate or clinical programs and tell us like how prepared they felt the health science major. They feel like the health science major prepared them for their graduate clinical programs, and how they feel like they're compared to their fellow classmates in the program, they feel like they're already know a lot of the things, like their scholarly writing class, they've already learned how to, do grant proposals and starting to learn all these like healthcare terms. So they feel very, the best way I could put it, they feel very prepared and sometimes more advanced than other students from other programs. So it's a really great opportunity, especially, if you're looking for graduate programs, whether it's clinical or non-clinical, there's so many opportunities.
Great. Thank you both so much. So I think that pretty much wraps everything up. If you guys do have additional questions, I put Tracy's email is in the chat function as well as Jennifer's. So you guys can reach out to them with more individualized questions. So if we didn't get to your questions and you still, have lingering thoughts, definitely feel free to reach out to them. I wanted to thank both Tracy and Jennifer for coming today and presenting and answering all these great questions. And we hope to see you at future events. So thank you, everyone, and have a great night.